So, you from the city?
No, I'm from Brooklyn.
I ripped him an asshole up on Friday, but now he's my buddy.
I mean, if you snort that line of salt, I don't know, what do you want, like a t-shirt?
Hank's Saloon. Hank's Saloon.
If you can create something in Hank's, you know you can create it anywhere.
It was one of the places where you could get a cheap drink and hang out with a bunch of pensioners.
People perceive it as being threatening. But for the people that went there, it was exactly the opposite experience.
Everybody was friendly. Everybody was from all over. This is like the most original Benetton ad of New York.
Remember? Yeah. Remember when you were on my back? Yeah, when he dumped you.
It was debaucherous. Like, there was always this feeling of like, there's no depth to which you could see things going to where it would be shocking.
You were there the last night, right? What? Was I doing something bad?
You'll have to see the movie.
It was like the last of a dying breed of old man bar turned something new that was still actually cool.
When you talk about Hank's, this is the real Brooklyn, the real deal. We love him, and we don't want him to leave.
I can't believe we're closing, and everybody's counting down. I'm not counting nothing.
When you're coming in here to ask us and lament that we're closing, but yet you're not spending a fucking dime, go fuck yourself.
There was a conscious decision by the powers that be in New York. Do we maintain as an industrial city, or do we want to become a city of finance and real estate?
There was all these bigwigs kind of fighting over land and property and taxes, and we just kind of floated by in this limbo of, like, if we're small enough and don't make enough noise, like, no one's going to notice that we're still here running the bar.
They want to buy it and fix it up. You know, fix it up. There's nothing wrong with it.
Even though soon it may go kaboom, we'll down one more round and croon one more tune for one day for Hank's Saloon.
God bless Hank's.
By indoctrination, conditioned by society. Conditioned by indoctrination.
Hey, I'm not sure what's happening. Some technical some rare technical bullshit. So let's see. Sorry about that. Let's try this.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
What's happening? We're back. Sorry about that. We always get excited when there's technical issues because they're so rare. We look at it as a great opportunity. So what's happening, everybody? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. episode 418. Incredible but true stories of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I hope everybody's well. I see lots of our friends out there. What's up, Rich Zoller? Sean McNally holding it down in Massachusetts. What's going on, Spiky? Good. The Union Tapes, I see you. Would you just watch Avatar? I see you. Man, I'm never dragging my ass to another Avatar movie. God, the last one was brutal. Love playing there. Hell yeah. All right. Lots to talk about today. Some home cooking. Always love doing shows like this when it's New York stuff. A New York venue, a New York film, a New York musician. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Speaking of home cooking, let's see what's going on with the hardcore shutterbug. What's going on? Is this the next technical problem?
Hello?
Yeah, I don't see you, man. What the fuck is going on today?
I don't know.
Very strange.
I'm here. I swear I am.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to be on, but I don't see you. So
It says I'm in the show.
I don't see you, bro.
I'm
Maybe
just
the forces that be do not want you on. So very strange indeed. Yeah. What can you do?
Kill them all. Kill them.
You might not make it on today. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
There I am.
Yeah.
Hey.
Weird shit.
Weird, wild stuff.
What's going on?
Too much. Not too much. It's nice to have a week after the blizzard to have a nice day outside, you know?
Yeah.
But, oh, man. That was good. I was out last night. I did something a little differently. I went to see some outlaw country music last night.
Outlaw country music in Long Island?
Yeah. This is a band called Roadside. And, of course, that is my bass player, Blaine Horn from the Sling Blades. This is his side piece here that he does. And they were great. They did, like, originals as well as, like, some Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and stuff. And really good guitar player. And the crazy thing is this guitar player, we're talking, and it turned out he was in a band called Strychnine. And 40 years ago, this July, we played a show together at Sundance in my very first band. I was in like a crossover band called Welt in 1986. And we played with Strychnine. And this is the same guy. I haven't seen this guy in 40 years. Now he's in a band with my bass player.
Nice.
And but they were really, really good. And like, you know, just really good players, good singer.
Well, he's playing the right guitar, right?
It's beauty.
He's playing a Telecaster.
Guitar. And he had a great sound.
Lori Dawn says, I know Strychnine.
Yeah, of course. They've been around forever. And
we're Strychnine.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is. But they were really cool. And it was in Farmingdale. And I haven't been to like that Farmingdale main drag area in a long time. The whole area was just mobbed. I mean, I used to go, remember when the downtown used to be there?
No.
Well, the downtown was a big place in Farmingdale where bands would play. Huge bands like Clutch and Madball AF and stuff. And that was right around the same area. And I haven't been there since. But they this place was hopping. And it was very cool. It was like a interesting crowd because I'm not really used to that kind of country western crowd, but it was great.
Well, I thought that would be a little tie-in to today's show because Hank's Saloon ended up being a little bit a little I don't know if reborn is the right word, but as a bit of a country western kind of bar. So
well, it's interesting because back in the day, Sundance started out as a country bar.
Right.
Which is, you know, I guess it's all music, you know. I mean, but it was cool. It was definitely a fun night for sure. Oh, and another thing, while you got me here, is I just wanted to say, we had an upcoming show with the Poets at a place called Whiskey Rocks, which we had to back out of because my guitar player took a fall on the ice, and he slammed his middle finger, and the knuckles actually like telescoped, and he dislocated. They had to snap it back in.
Bro, let me tell you something. If you're in my band and that happens to you, you're fucking playing, yo. I don't give a fuck.
But anyway,
yo.
the good thing is that flyer you just showed, we have a new show coming up, and that is in April at Katie's in Smithtown, and with our good friends Marley Bone as Superhero. And in fact, I have two guys, my bassist and guitarist, share a birthday, and they will both be celebrating their birthday at that show. So,
right on.
It should be very cool.
Cool. Rest in peace, Neil Sedaka and John Hammond.
Yeah.
John Hammond Jr. actually.
Yes.
Not to be confused with John Hammond Sr., who signed Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
What do I think? Janis Joplin? Stevie Ray Vaughan. What was it? What was John Hammond Sr.? What was his other big signing? Springsteen, maybe?
It might have, I think it might have been Springsteen, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Larry Kelly, I saw he posted a great flyer of Kill Slug and Sam Hain today.
I saw that. He played that show, apparently.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Mickey Fresh.
Yeah, man. All right. Cool. All right. Eddie's.
At least let's do this. I raise my Stooges glass to you.
What do you put in the Stooges glass?
Just water. Today, anyway.
All right. I'll talk to you in a bit.
Yeah.
See you in a bit. Well, there you have it. This is the one, the only New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by the Texas Silver Rush DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Woomen of the Pit, She Devil Coven, and yes, Minty Fresh presents. They're a promotion company that put on hardcore metal shows at Locals Bar in Manalapan, New Jersey. Founded by Chris Golis of Bulldoze, who I saw played a crushing show the other night, and Frankie DeAngelis of Silence Equals Death, who we just played with at A7, and they crushed. The shows are all ages with plenty of free parking. The kitchen's open all night and the bar till 2 a.m. If you're a band looking to play and you don't totally suck, or if you do suck but draw a fuckload of people, reach out to them at mintyfreshpresents@gmail.com. Ticket pre-sales for events are available at mintyfreshnewjersey.com. Check them out on Instagram at mintyfreshnj and help spread the word to support DIY hardcore metal in Central New Jersey. Minty Fresh presents. Let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guest on. Here we go. Make sure everybody's okay in the chat room. Hey, Andrew Ray. It's been a minute. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. That said, let's bring our guest on. Here we go. Put your seatbelts on. Don't be scared. Today's guest is a filmmaker, videographer, screenwriter, producer, and director hailing from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. His works include Fancy Feast and Susie Hot Rod, roller derby star. Here today to talk to us about his most recent documentary film about the infamous Brooklyn dive bar, Hank's Saloon. Please welcome, coming at us from where else but Brooklyn, New York, Mr. Leon Chase. Hey, man.
Hey. So first of all, I have to apologize because I'm fairly certain that is actually the ghost of Hank's Saloon that's fucking with all your technical stuff today. Like, God forbid we do anything about Hank's without it, something going wrong.
Is that right?
So, on behalf of the bar, I apologize. That was a very Hank's thing to happen today.
Like I said, I don't even stress any of it anymore. I'm like, hey, cool.
No, you got to embrace the process, man. It's all.
Hey,
fun.
Nick Cooper, is that you? Shouting out Nick Cooper, OG. Yeah. Wow. Nice. Is that you, Nick, down in Philly? Wow. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah. Well, let's chop it up. Listen, I got to say, you and I connected a bit before the show, and personally, it's always really exciting for me to have a fellow filmmaker, a fellow traveler, a fellow cosmic traveler who, not just a filmmaker, but a guy who does independent independent, music-driven documentary films. A fellow who's taken a beating.
Yes. We're a hardy breed, aren't we?
My brother, my kindred spirit.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us, how did you come up? Did you grow up in a music and film household? How did music and film come into your life?
It's interesting. I had like fairly young parents. Like my parents were very much like 60s and 70s era rockers, so I definitely grew up with like, the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that in my house. Like I was definitely like obsessed with being a rocker as a kid. I think my dad in particular was a big fan of documentaries, and he was always like, "Hey, come here, this thing's on PBS. You got to see this." So like this is going to sound kind of funny to your audience. I have really fond memories of my family sitting down to watch the Woodstock movie.
That's awesome.
That, which, it could maybe use an edit in hindsight, but like that was my first kind of taste of like, oh, like not only can you do this thing that's kind of funny and, it has this very like, what I didn't know at the time was a very verite feel, but also like, I remember watching that kind of culturally as a kid and being like, this is cool. What happened? Like, why aren't people doing this anymore? Which really laid the groundwork for a lot of other stuff in my life. So I think I was very much coming from that kind of sense of music.
But your dad wasn't a filmmaker.
Oh no, not at all. Just the kind of guy that was like get serious about stuff. If it it'd be like you could tell when something important was on TV because the parents would be like, "Shut up, Woodstock's on."
What was watching films with your family, was that part of your like family upbringing, like growing up?
Yeah, I think that like a lot of people, and I grew up in the suburbs. I can claim Detroit, but I grew up maybe 8 minutes outside of there in a little suburb called Riverview. And I think like a lot of people, the family centered around the TV for better or for worse. And it was about what was on TV, and I wasn't, exposed to a lot of different stuff as a kid, so that becomes the way you kind of learn things and piece things together. And also I'm 53 years old, so I'm coming out of that era where we did have to just kind of find stuff where we could. There was no looking up or learning the entire history of anything. You were just like, oh, here's a little bit of this and here's a little bit of that, and what's this weird record in the basement, and what's this strange thing I saw on like the local channel late at night, and
I bring that up because for me, that was such a part of my growing up, was the culture of going to the movies. I mean, my dad was a film director, and my uncle was a film editor, and I grew up kind of in the film. But we went to movies like once, 2, 3 times a week. I'd go with, and a lot of the movies I saw growing up, like with my parents, like in retrospect, were really inappropriate. I remember feeling really uncomfortable, like watching, like as a young person, seeing, because those 70s films had a lot of nakedness.
Oh yeah,
so there was a lot of nakedness and like weird nakedness for the sake. Like every film in the 70s had like a rape scene.
Yeah,
like a gratuitous rape scene. It was like, oh.
Yeah, it's really true. And my parents were big fans of the drive-in when those were still fairly common, and they would very often just throw us in the back because I'm sure it was easy and probably cheap. And the idea was I would just fall asleep while they watched whatever. But I remember like catching bits and pieces of some kind of, I guess what would have been like exploitation movies, where I was seeing like violence and nudity that I probably shouldn't have seen. But same with cable TV a little later on,
Quick question to the audience out there. What was the most inappropriate film you saw as a very young person, and in retrospect? Let's see what this crowd comes up with.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I definitely saw Conan the Barbarian a little too early. That one messed with me a little bit.
The
whole like witch sex scene thing, I probably could have used a few years before I saw that, but here we are.
For sure. Exorcist. That was get thrown into the. Everyone's saying Exorcist, still traumatized. get thrown into the breach with that one.
You know what?
Exorcist.
You raised a memory for me. I remember whatever version of Exorcist they were putting on TV, like late at night. I remember I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I could hear it, which was probably worse.
100 everywhere. Everywhere. Exorcist has faces of death. Faces of death. Well, yeah, that's fucked up. Blood sucking freaks.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Not for the weak. That one. Whew.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So at what point? Okay, one more here. Oh boy, double feature: Phantasm and the Manitou. Traumatized me. Awesome films. I remember The Howling. Those are.
Oh yeah.
Those films.
Yeah.
The Howling, American Werewolf in London. Those are. Nick Cooper, The Man with the Golden Arm. Good one. Frank Sinatra. Good one, Nick. Yeah,
there was a lot. If you got cable in the 80s, you were suddenly exposed to just a lot of gore.
Sure.
Like you said, a lot of really gratuitous rape stuff and just some nasty stuff. But I remember the gore in particular, like, because that was like all the slasher movies were on at night.
Sure.
Yeah.
So at what point do you gravitate to being a documentary filmmaker or film in general?
Yeah,
I know later. I know you come to New York at some point. Bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah. First of all, I got into making movies really late in life. I was always a movie fan, and shout out to my friend Mike White, who does the Projection Booth podcast. He's one of my oldest friends, and he was one of those kids that even as a kid just knew every movie and had seen them all like 3 times and was just always way ahead of me. But so shout out, Mike, if you're watching this. But, I was always a fan, kind of the opposite of you. I grew up in a place that was very, like, everyone on where I grew up made cars or steel or some variation on an industrial job like that. So, like, telling somebody that you were, like, an editor or anything involving making movies was kind of science fiction to me.
Sure.
Like, I think as a kid, I loved that, but I didn't have any concept of how to make that happen. And I wasn't savvy enough. Like, I had access to my local public access station, and I didn't really, for those who remember those, and I didn't really like utilize that. I was kind of in my own head about like who I was and what I was going to do. So it was really like much later in life. I spent a lot of time playing music, was doing some writing. I came to New York partially because I was like writing plays at the time, and I thought that was going to be a thing for me. And I think that later on, as like a lot of people, I benefited from the digital technology and everything just getting a little easier and a little cheaper to make. And at the same time, I came to New York in 2000.
Right before 9/11.
Yeah. I moved here like the fall of 2000.
Wow.
And as I was here for a few years, I was already conscious that, first of all, everybody told me I missed the good part. Giuliani had already happened. Like, that's a rite of passage to have someone tell you that whatever year is before the year you got here was
such bullshit. To this day, that's such bullshit.
Yeah, but it's a tradition in this town.
Sure.
And particularly in the music scenes. But
sure,
I became very conscious as the sort of, let's just say, billionaire takeover of the city when everything just started to become even more expensive and everything started to feel like it was about real estate and finance, and you started to see a lot of stuff get squeezed out. I think I became conscious that there was like a certain kind of, like, I use the term character, like just there were all these kind of odd people around, which is one of the reasons I loved it here. It was like, there was just this wild diversity of like, just personality that you would meet all the time. And I became conscious of them disappearing a little bit or getting squeezed out a little bit, and that really incentivized me to just start filming people and just kind of start talking to people, and so a lot of like my sense of like documentary maybe came out of that. I think I've always been kind of interested in like larger cultural questions, like what's going on, an awareness, again, coming from the music world, of like scenes and how scenes happen and how scenes go away, and what that kind of lifespan is. So all that kind of plays into really a moment in the early 2000s when I'm playing Johnny Cash songs and Hank Williams songs on the subway for money. Like I was just out there busking, and I happened to have a voice for that kind of music, and it wasn't a particularly cool genre at the time, but I found that it got me a lot of attention as something different in New York. And then I learned that a lot of New Yorkers really knew that music. And where
You're basically talking, dare I say, like outlaw country, or
or like if we're gonna use the general term, like alt country kind of thing, like
Marty Robbins, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings,
and like your friend said, Willie Nelson and all that, Waylon and all that kind of stuff, and it was really like one of the reasons that Hanks was really important to me personally was I walked in there on a night when Sean Kershaw, who's in the movie, was playing, and I went up to him and I said, "Man, I thought I was the only guy in New York that knew Hank Williams songs," because it really felt it was that small, and at the time it was not like nobody was doing that stuff to be cool. You know what I mean? You were doing it because you loved it.
Sure.
And so a lot of this, a long-winded answer to your question, is I think a lot of my sense of documenting stuff came out of those kind of dual energies,
Yeah. And we mentioned the excuse me, the previous projects you worked on, Fancy Feast and Susie Hot Rod, Roller Derby Star.
Yeah.
Were you honing your craft, working towards the Hank stock?
Oh yeah, very much so. Like I'm very much an old stubborn DIY kid where I'm like, I don't know, just do it, and then we'll figure out if we did it right.
Right.
So, so warts and all, those are really my first kind of forays into very small time, like literally just me with the best used camcorder I could afford, focusing on these people who gave me incredible access to their lives. And, so I call them like mini documentaries. They were both sort of ended up on YouTube, and yeah, those were my test runs really for what became a much larger project.
And you mentioned you playing music. And I'm assuming eventually you pulled a couple people together and formed Uncle Leon on the Alibis.
Yeah.
And you were playing at Hank's every now and then.
Yeah, everything about that band is so tied up in the existence of Hank's, because again, I had a knowledge of this kind of music, and I knew that I had the kind of voice that fit it well. But until I went there and I met other people that were doing it, and in particular, my bass player, Neil, who's still one of my oldest friends, who's also in the movie, I literally met him like my first or second time at Hank's. My guitar player, Charlie, I met there, and everything we made was really kind of catered for this very specific crowd at Hank's, which was centered on the older stuff without being like intentionally retro. We weren't like a rockabilly act exactly, but we were definitely like, we're doing this thing that I would consider like a punk rock energy with country content.
Yeah. Now, from hanging out there and getting to know everybody, at what point did you? I know we're skipping around a little bit, and we're going to bring on Lee and Ben from the Broadlow in a little bit. But at what point did you feel like, hey, there's culturally something here that should be documented? When was that sort of moment?
I would say that I felt that way earlier than when we ever started filming anything, because I started a website called Brooklyn Country that was intentionally, and we meant the name at the time as a joke, because we're like, who the hell ever heard of Brooklyn Country? Sure. Now people actually use that term.
Right.
But that was me looking around, because places, in particularly Hank's and a couple other spots like Freddy's and Blackguards and places like that, they were you were seeing this coalescing of like all these people finding each other, which is always a really fun stage in any music scene. And I think I was very aware of that. And so my first effort was really to just kind of like get all those people together literally on the same page. And also, like, once you do that, then you have this incredible cross-pollination happening. The decision to come in and film came much later, but, I think I was always aware that, like, oh, there's, like, something very specifically Hank's happening here.
That's awesome that you have that. You had that thought to document. I can relate. This is important stuff. This is historical stuff. There's an intrinsic value to this moment.
Yeah.
I think it should be documented. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I would also add that I think probably most people watching this have had some experience in some form of a music scene where, yeah, there's great bands, but it hits a certain point where there's a lot of attitude floating around, or there's a lot of, whatever you want to call it, cool kid mentality. I think in New York City in particular, there's this disease people get of kind of looking around like, hey, this is cool. Is this going to be the thing that makes me famous this week? And one of the cool things about Hanks is it really, truly didn't have that. Like, it was like nobody was showing up there and playing because they thought it made them cool, other than to each other. And that's a really fun energy when you find it.
Well, I think in seeing the film, and I have to say that I think you deserve not only a medal but a monument as well, because I certainly know what goes into making independent documentary films, and I think anybody, I love films like this because I'm like a documentary pervert, like I like watch a documentary on whatever, two dogs fucking, whatever. I mean, I love it. Because I feel like if anybody has if anybody's that passionate about it to go through the process to make it, then I'm all about it. Like if you're gonna nail yourself to the cross, I'll watch your documentary film, man.
Dude. And I am a lesson, and if anyone wants a grand tutorial on how not to do it, I'm that guy who just said, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to learn it as I go. I'm just going to take things on one thing at a time. It started very small. And of course, as I realized how much attention and how much love there was for Hanks, the whole thing kind of grew. But yeah, man, if you want to know the mistakes, I did them all. Like I've done everything the wrong way.
Yeah. So let's just jump into sort of the film a little bit. One thing I really loved about the film is how you set the table and laid out the history of Hanks, really the neighborhood and all that. It was a bar since 1904 under various names, and you really set things up. And I love the archival New York stuff. I know you did a real deep dive into the neighborhood, and it was just incredible to see some of the real old stuff that you dug up.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through that process a little bit?
A healthy dose of obsessive compulsion and a lot of time on the internet. I got lucky. There's something called the tax photos that the city of New York went around and photographed every single piece of property, and I believe they did it once in the 40s, and then they did it in the 80s.
That's right.
And so some of the photos of the building are from that. It was tough because 3rd and Atlantic, where the bar was located in downtown Brooklyn, was not a glamorous area. For much of the early 20th century, between Prohibition and whatever other organized crime activity was going on, people probably didn't want you necessarily reporting on it or taking photos. So a lot of that early stuff is just like scouring like the Brooklyn Eagle's incredible newspaper archives to find like, you literally could just search a name and you find like every time that address got busted for something.
Right.
No, because it really was. It was not Brooklyn in general was not a glamorous place, and neither was that corner.
That corner it's sort of a weird spot. It's like right on Atlantic, but it's sort of like in a limbo. It's sort of on the precipice there. So it's sort of a weird, it's not like deep in the neighborhood. It's sort of on an outlying area right on Atlantic, but really interesting in that regard. And one of the main characters in the film that you center on is Jeannie, the bartender, who was really there for a very, very long time, who's quite a character. Why did you gravitate to her as far as being one of the sort of main characters?
Couple reasons. I mean, the big one is if you spend 5 minutes with Jeannie, she's just that captivating. Like, she really is just this a little bit over the top, old school, like born and raised in a very specific era of Brooklyn, will tell you exactly how she feels about you and everything else. And, you know, has this, this personality that was probably a lot more common that has become, a little rarer, you know, as the city changes. She's also a really good through line because she started there, I think, in the mid 90s when it was still the Doré Tavern. So there was a lot of history there. And just a great person to talk to, man. She's just really, you know, loves speaking, loves her role as the bartender, and, you know, had a lot to say.
Hard as nails, man. Look, she has the Hank tattoo, and how hard is that?
Oh yeah. There's a whole segment about what happens when you piss off Jeannie. I mean, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. God forbid, but I mean, what an incredible character, and through the course of the film, you get to know these, dare I say, slightly eccentric characters who really weave the fabric of what made Hanks great and certainly special.
I want to add something else about Jeannie that I think really taps into what made Hanks work. Is she is just one of the most non-judgmental people I've ever met in my life. You know, if you walk in there, you know, as a politician, she's going to treat you the same way as if you walk in there with a face full of tattoos. If you walk in there, you know, half homeless or whatever, like she treats everybody exactly as they are. And as Lauren says in the movie, I think that's becoming a lost art in this town as well.
Yeah. And this is the front door of kind of Hanks. This is a screenshot from the film. And
with Kip.
It was really a well-worn establishment.
Yes.
And you know, I was sort of saving this for when we bring on Lee and Ben, but in a lot of ways, it was very CBGB-esque.
Yes.
It reminds me very much of that kind of like incredibly well-worn place, and where everything is just hanging on, man.
Yeah. Well, and to add to your earlier conversation as well, CB's started country bluegrass is literally what it stood for. Like it started as this music venue that also wasn't really doing anything. And, you know, there was much like Hanks, there wasn't a conscious sense of like, oh, we've got to turn it into this kind of place. CB's was Hilly opening the place up and saying, fine, you got a band, come play here.
It's the same. It's the same kind of thing. They planted the flag when there was nothing in the neighborhood, and the world changed around them to the point where they ran them out. Another character in the film was this gal.
Oh, Lauren, yes.
Yeah, she was pretty good on camera. She was a character, man.
Yeah.
She was awesome. And
Lauren is fun, and she's fun to watch the movie with now because she was so at the end of her rope as the manager of that place. And everyone was so sad that it was going away, but also just so tired and so trying to like keep everything together in those last couple months. And Lauren, like, there's stuff in the movie of her just trying, you know, she's dealing with a building that's falling apart. Her rants about the customers are hilarious. You know, she's just kind of fed up with everybody as a personality in general. And yeah, it makes for some pretty good comedy, I think.
And another thing in the film that I thought was really great and really incredible is apparently in the is it the 70s or the early 80s when I think before it was Hanks, it was called
the Doré Tavern, yeah.
And it was like a hangout for iron workers.
Yes. Yeah.
And to be more specific, it was Indian iron workers who came down here from Canada and would work the week in Manhattan and they would
Yeah.
stay in the right around the corner from Hanks was all boarding
Yeah.
houses. I thought it was incredible that you tracked these guys down. How did you do that?
Well, first of all, just to give a little background, like those guys have been participating in the New York construction business at least since the 1920s.
Yeah.
And the whole legacy of how much of this city was built by various indigenous groups, a lot of them from this particular area called Ganawake in out south of Montreal. So there's a very long history that kind of petered out around the time Hanks started, just because of changes in the industry and everything else. But it's been documented. There have been documentaries about that particular group in New York, and a lot of people brought them up when I started talking about the history. Jeannie very much had firsthand, relationships and friendships with these guys, as did, the people who ran Dore. I'll tell you what happened is, just from a kind of basic journalistic standpoint, and this is what I told them when I met them. At a certain point, I said, I got 5 white guys talking about you guys, and I don't have any of you on camera. And, I felt a responsibility to, like, let's get these guys as firsthand sources. Also, whenever you have a group like that and you got a bunch of white people talking about, oh, they were so wild and whatever, like, hold on. Let's get their version of it before we start.
And you did. Did you travel up into Canada? Yeah. And what was incredible was, like, these guys are still buddies. You can tell they love each other.
Yeah.
These guys fucking love each other. They're still hanging out. You could see these guys as like 20-year-olds hanging out and drinking cheap beer. It's like, that was a great moment in the film.
I'm really proud of it. It took some digging. I will tell you that one of the beautiful things about having somebody like Jeannie involved is there is this very old school New York thing where it's like, who do you know? Who's this guy? Why are you talking to me right now? And if you have an answer to that and can say, well, Jeannie sent me, then all of a sudden, like, the door is open. And Jeannie, like, went a long way toward kind of clearing the path with those guys.
What was she still connected or in touch with any of them?
Only, she had like a couple phone numbers. And so
how did you literally track them down?
I think it was finally through, I think she had like one person's phone number. Also, totally randomly, I was in a bar called the Irish Haven in Sunset Park, which is it's the last of the old, like, opens at 8 a.m. bars. And I randomly heard a guy talking and just went up to him and I was like, excuse me, are you like an indigenous ironworker from Canada? And just like bothered the guy and got some phone numbers through him. So between that stuff, it was really a matter of calling people. And really, like, once they called up Jeannie and she said, no, this guy's for real, he's cool. Like, then it was like the door was wide open. They were incredible to me. And in particular, the main guy, Benji, that kind of brought me up there, he's really the one that got that group together, because they all still live. It's a reservation, I guess, technically, but it's just a town. They're all still in this same little town up there. And so, he just got everybody together and was like, hey, the movie guy is going to be here if you want to be involved.
And I love how it ties in the history of the neighborhood with the neighborhood I'm somewhat familiar with, the outlying streets and those beautiful buildings on those streets were all boarding houses back in the day. And those guys would come down here and work and sleep and then go home every couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah. Or on the weekends, maybe. Yeah. A lot of what we consider the kind of classic brownstones became boarding houses in the 60s and 70s. And those guys have stories of, they were just renting apartments on State Street.
Yeah.
Or they had whole families that were living down here because it was that lucrative,
Yeah, right. And it's a bygone era, the neighborhood, before the neighborhood really changed, and then changed again, which we'll get to with the whole Barclay Center kind of thing and all that. I really love the bit you did with John, the local historian, on stage at Hanks, sort of doing like storytellers and talking about the history of the neighborhood. I really thought that was well done. It was a nice touch.
Well, I was very lucky because that had all already happened. He had just done that as like a kind of, I don't want to say a show, but it was it was a night that he hosted where he basically like got up on stage and did that long before I made the movie. So I was just lucky enough to get that footage from him.
Very cool.
Yeah, I agree. It was
that was great. I thought that was tied in quite a bit. We think before we bring these other guys on with us and make it a big party. I mean, yeah, you touch on a lot of people and bring a lot of characters into it, and it's just a great New York story. Maybe now's the time to just mention because some people are asking, hey, how can I see it?
Yeah.
So what? Maybe fill in our people how they could see it. We'll ask again later on, but
yeah. As of right now, as of this taping, it's showing this coming Wednesday at Nighthawk Prospect Park in Brooklyn, which is a great local theater. They had our premiere as well. As I understand it, there's like maybe 3 tickets left right now. So if you go there, you might be able to grab them. Otherwise, they're about to sell out. Our next big step is we're doing what I'm jokingly calling my world tour, where I'm just taking it straight to the people it was made for, which is people in bars. So what we're doing is because they're smaller venues, we're keeping it, I don't want to say exclusive, but there's a mailing list so that the people that are really interested can kind of get first access to it. So if you go to my website, this is the plug part, leonchase.com, there's a place where you can sign up for the mailing list. And starting in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start having smaller places in bars in various places around Brooklyn where we're going to be showing it very informally. We have a subtitled version so you can get drunk and yell and not miss anything. But yeah, we're keeping that to the mailing list for now, just to kind of, manage the numbers a little bit. But that's the best way to find out. And also, if any new screenings come up in any theaters, if you're on the list, that'll be the best way to find out.
Yeah, so that's right, everybody. Go check out, get on the list at www.leonchase.com. I like this sort of new trend of captions at movies.
Yeah.
I like that. That gets me to the movies now. It's because I was just getting so we go to the movies and I couldn't understand the dialogue. There's so much sound design going on. And my hearing's not great to begin with these days. Yeah. And I would just go, fuck this. I don't even want to go to the movies anymore. I don't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, a good portion of the movie, I already made the choice to caption because it was either recorded under less than great circumstances or the people involved were maybe a little drunk or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing one that's all subtitles for the bar version just to make it easy on everybody.
Yeah. Here's another, I think here's another character from the film.
Who we got? Oh, William. Yes.
Yeah.
I love William. He's another one who goes way back too.
Yeah. You could tell he's another neighborhood guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And had been coming in there almost as long as Jeannie, I think, since like the mid 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Is it heading to Boston?
I've been talking. Kip knew somebody up there. Like the goal is to take it wherever we can take it. Like this is just me right now. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. So we're starting with neighborhoods in New York, but certainly as things progress and things warm up a little bit, I'm into taking it anywhere somebody wants to show it.
That's the spirit.
The beauty is I own the thing. I try to stay positive, and I don't have a distribution deal yet. If somebody out there wants to give me one, then head to the website, let's talk. But my attitude, I treat it very much like when I had a bar band. It's like, well, here's the thing I own. Here's what I know how to do with it. Let's just take it out there and, bit by bit, just, basically make it a thing till people can't ignore it is my goal.
Yeah. I like this. Well, it's punk rock. It's get in the van is what it is. It's like, get in the van and I love it. I did that with the New York Hardcore Chronicles film. I just went out barnstorming. VFW halls, places like that. And I look back on this one of the most enjoyable experiences I had as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
As opposed to, the distributor has it and it's
or you're on this treadmill of like hoping you get into a festival because someone told you that the festival is going to be your ticket to whatever. And I'm not saying anything bad about festivals, but it's a numbers game now. It's not the dream that people think it is.
Oh, can I? Oh, can I? Festivals are bullshit.
You said it, man.
Festivals are, film festivals are bullshit. Yeah. They're just, they're the majority of them. It's another racket. It's like we could start the Drew and Leon Film Festival, and hey, everybody, send us your film with a $50 admission fee, and we'll get 1,000 people will submit their films at $50 each, and we'll screen 5 films on a dirty bed sheet, and make plenty of money. So
there is a lot of that. Even the legitimate ones, like I said, it's a numbers game. So many people are making movies now, which I can't be mad about because I'm benefiting from that system as well.
Right.
But it's not what people think it is anymore. And I joke, like we got we had our premiere at Nighthawk, which is one of my favorite local theaters. And I was joking to my friend. I was like, "Oh, we just treated it like it's the 1900s." I'm like the guy with the movie under my arm. I'm like, "You got a theater, I got a film."
Right.
Like we're actually bringing it full circle back to this like early version of how shit got done, which is just like you tour with now the hard drive. It used to be the reel under your arm.
Yeah.
But you just go to town and find somebody that'll show the damn thing.
Yeah. Lori says galleries are like that now too. Yeah. Yeah. I used to think my dream is to be in a film festival, and I got that sorted out pretty fast, and realized. I mean, listen, some of them are great, some of them are good. I've been treated really great by some film festivals and had some glorious moments at film festival, but for the most part, it's a little bit of a bait and switch and a hustle, and that said, so let me take a quick sponsor break.
All right.
Let me take a sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll bring on our friends, Mr. Lee and Benjamin Howard Smith. Okay.
Awesome.
I'll see you in a couple.
Awesome.
That's what's up. Episode 418. Talking about Hank's Saloon documentary. Let's do some sponsor stuff and let's continue in our quest.
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You could do that, but the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their...
That's what's up. So New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I want to talk about some upcoming shows. 1 week from today, author Stephen Blush
will be on the show. Has the new book out, When Rock Met Hip Hop, the companion to When Rock Met Reggae. That is 1 week from today, March 8th. A couple days after that, I'm excited. Frank Ferrara's coming on the show. Longest tenured Guns N' Roses drummer, New York guy, used to be in The Beautiful. He's in the Psychedelic Furs. Looking forward to that one. Wednesday, March 18th, a bonus episode. We're making this one work. It is the Agnostic Front Echoes in Eternity album breakdown with Vinny Stigma, Mike Gallo, and Mike DeJean, the producer. It should be pretty cool. Bill Stevenson from The Descendants, Sunday, March 22nd. Sunday, March 29th, co-hosted by Lori Dawn, Dee Dee Verney of Overkill. Sorry, the ghosts of Hanks are starting up again. Sunday, April 5th, Brian Fair of Shadows Fall. Wednesday, April 15th, another doc, the Something Better Change documentary highlighting the life of Joey Chithead from DOA. Scott Crawford will be on, and our old friend Paul Rackman, the producer. Wayne from Hatebreed, Sunday, April 19th. This one is not announced yet. Not sure. We're sort of Gary Lucas from Captain Beefheart, Gods and Monsters, Jeff Buckley, and Solo. We're trying to sort this out. That might get cooked down the road. Curse Mackey, co-hosted by Joel Gostin, Wednesday, April 29th. We're doing an Incendiary Device album rundown on Wednesday, May 6th. And that's that. So that's the name of that tune. So that said, let's bring on a couple other guests. How about let's welcome a new friend to the show. Hailing from New York City, he's the force behind Dead Flowers Productions, which books and curates music. He's been involved with the booking of the Bowery Electric, Berlin, Magnetic Field, Heaven Can Wait, and of course, what brings him here today with us, Hank's Saloon. Please welcome, coming at us from Brooklyn, New York, Mr. Lee Greenfeld. Hey.
What's going on, Drew?
You can hear me. We're good.
I hear you now.
You hear?
Ghost of Hanks was knocking you out, but
is that true? Have you ever heard anything about that?
Well, I mean, the place was held together by tape and spit, and beer, and hangovers. So yeah.
Yeah. How did before we're going to bring Ben from the Broadlow on, but let's do 5-10 minutes, you and me, real quick.
Sure.
How did Hank kind of come into your orbit?
So I mean, I've been booking shows a long time. I owned a club on Atlantic Avenue down the road on Atlantic between Hicks and Henry called Magnetic Field, where I booked all the shows. We were open from 2002 to 2008. Julie and her former partner Dean, what's up, bro? Owned a bar, Last Exit, which was kind of between where Magnetic Field and Hanks was. Rest in peace, Last Exit, great bar. And I knew Julie since I was a kid. That's a long story, but I dated one of her best friends when I was a kid in Brooklyn. And so when Magnetic Field closed, I was booking around town at a lot of different venues, Union Hall. I was doing boat shows. I was doing shows all over. I was managing some bands. And then they asked me, I think it must have been like 2013, when Julie and her ex took over the club. Maybe they took it over like a year or two before. They asked me to come in and start booking shows, see if I wanted to book shows here and there, and that just fell into place.
Did you like go in to hang out before then? Were you
very familiar? I mean,
were you very familiar with sort of the whole?
So I know the previous owner when it was Dore. The brother of that guy owned a bar, a really legendary bar in Court Street called O'Keefe's. Where it was probably one of the earliest bars I drank underage when I was a kid. Real old school, bucket of blood. It became kind of, like most in New York, it became yuppified, but great spot. So I went to Dore for sure. And then I think I wandered in. The first time I saw music there was when Sean Kershaw, who I'm sure will come up later, he was doing these Sunday shows, and I went in there one time. I'm gonna guess Magnetic Field was already open at that point, and it was just great. It was a really cool scene. It just felt authentic and like old New York. You know, it was like a good mix of just people there for the music, people just wandering in, very old, you know, Brooklyn. Yeah, so I mean, I knew it, and you know, it was weird going from, you know, Magnetic Field. We worked real hard on our sound system and trying to get it. You know, it was hard to get people to come to Brooklyn for shows then, and so at Magnetic Field, I worked really hard to make it as welcoming and sound as good. And not that Hanks didn't end up sounding good, but when at first it was like it felt like almost a step backwards because Hank was like, you know, like I said, held together by spit and hangovers, but it sounded great and ended up being working out real well. We did great shows and it was real fun, and it was cool because I got to do a lot of stuff I didn't work with in the past, which is I got to do a lot of like country and rockabilly stuff.
Sure.
So that was kind of new to me, and it was great. And I still work with some of those people to this day, so it was nice.
That makes sense. That said, let's bring on. I have a little intro for a little some little intro music. Here is the Brotlow and Hanks.
I booked that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to the show a guitarist, singer, songwriter hailing from New York City. He's known for his work with the band Sweet Diesel, the Kill Van Call, the Brotlow, and the Gilgo Beach Boys. Please welcome, coming at us from Queens, New York, Mr. Benjamin Howard Smith. Hey, man.
Right,
there he is.
Thanks for having me back, Drew.
Good to see you, man. I love that clip.
Yeah, that was like the reunion show. We hadn't played for 3 years, and Hanks was closing, so it was time to lift up the sword again.
Was that with Kings Destroy? Was that the show with Kings Destroy?
I was at that show.
Yeah. No, it was Green Dragon. It was Green Dragon, Mighty High, and
and Moral Panic.
I have that. I have that flyer somewhere. Yeah. So good stuff. Hey, while we're at it, this guy here, he directed the film.
Oh, hey guys.
There he is.
Hello.
What's up, Liam? Hey, let's bounce the ball back and forth a little bit. You know, this comes up a bit. We mentioned it. It's a centerpiece in the film. How did Hanks? This is Sean. Leon. How did Hanks become sort of such a center for Brooklyn country?
You know, I gotta say, in terms of the country scene, you got to give Sean Kershaw credit. He was just kind of the first guy to go in there and do it. I do also want to say that one of the problems when you make a documentary, which I'm sure you know, is that you're always like, man, I can make a 2-hour movie about this subject. I can make a 2-hour movie just about this subject. So I had to leave a lot of other people out, and I I hope I wasn't, overtly exclusionary, because the early Hanks scene was a much different mix of kind of anybody that wanted to come in and play. But Sean, you have to give him credit for being the guy to really make it a kind of country place for people who were into this kind of alt country scene. So really, like, he started with like him and a guitar by the pool table, and then, just kept doing it. As they say in the movie, was just persistent as hell. and just did it every Sunday until it kind of became a scene.
Makes sense. Here's a flyer from sort of that, I don't know, era, is it fair to say, but a honky tonk brunch.
Oh, so that came a little later on. That's when I was
That's the later
there.
incarnate, yeah.
Yeah, tell us about it, Lee.
Yeah, we started doing that. That was great. That was Sean decided to start doing. So he was doing Sunday nights back in the day, and then we did a literal brunch starting, as you could see, at noon. We had a taco truck for a while. We had a taco company that someone I grew up with. They were doing tacos within the bar. Then we just had a truck that just pulled up right in front. It was great, and it was Sean. That was all Sean's thing. I just put it on the calendar. Really, Sean deserves all credit for those shows. They were cool though because he'd always have lots of guests come on after they played. It was a party and went late. It was great.
I like in the film there's like an announcement, like the taco truck, the taco truck's pulling up. It's like
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Usually there was always a fair amount of eating done at Hank's as well.
Yeah, which is weird. Well, for a while there were barbecues. Before I was booking there were barbecues, and then the new transplant yuppies that moved to the neighborhood didn't like cooking food on the street. And I think if I remember correctly, they started complaining, which is, so eventually it just came like bring it inside or just have a taco truck. So you don't have to deal with.
Yeah, I can tell you that going way back, there was one person in particular who decided to just complain every night about that place. And it was a really ugly example of what happens once you get on the local authorities' radar, shall we say, where all of a sudden, I don't know who sits there on 3rd and Atlantic and complains about the noise, but someone did it. And I remember when John and Julie were still together, John telling me all of a sudden the health department shows up more. All of a sudden the fire department's like, why you got a grill on your sidewalk? All this stuff that nobody used to care about, and again, coinciding with this larger shift in what was happening in the city, because it was really kind of like an escape from Giuliani in the early 2000s. And that started to catch up with it.
100%. It's interesting. It like with what just happened with St. Vitus, for instance, it was one person. It was one person incessantly putting lodging complaints. Same thing that happened with Manitoba's. It was one person.
Yeah.
And that's Like
we had that at Magnetic Field too. We had somebody moved in. It was really clear that we're a music venue. They moved in next door. And they just started complaining. We tried to do everything to appease them until finally we just said, fuck it. We're not going to make them happy.
I used to work at Door Brownies. Avenue A, 90s. And I remember when that neighborhood was already on the way and a woman coming up to me at the door and being like, hi, I just moved around the corner and, we don't appreciate the noise here and it's too loud. And I was this is the Lower East Side. This neighborhood has not been quiet since it was born. It's always been loud, and go move, go move to Westchester. If that's how you feel. And this is the thing about you native New Yorkers, you're always, but it's like, if you didn't you move here because you loved here?
That's right.
If you don't like what this is. It's a big fucking country. You can find some.
I love it, but I don't want it in my neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Well, in the Lower East Side was the classic example when that became the really cool place for people to come down and sort of slum in on the weekends. And then they said, "Oh, I love this neighborhood," and then they move in, and then they bitch about everything that was the reason they came down there.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately become a stupid, repetitive story in this town. And I'm one of those guys I'm not from here, man. I moved here because I love the place and I love the people. And I didn't want a Starbucks and I didn't say, wow, I wish it was quieter and all this other shit. It's a fundamental change in mentality that I don't completely understand as someone wwho came here voluntarily.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I put this photo up because I just wanted to show everybody. Hold on, I'm having brain fog. I want to show you. This is the corner. So when we're talking about barbecuing, we're talking about the corner of right on Atlantic Ave. And
across the street was a laundromat. The other side of this next door is like a halfway house. I mean,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Hey, John Parton says Ben grilled us hot dogs.
John Parton, that's my brother John Parton from Richmond, Virginia, from a band called RPG, who we brought up.
Those guys are great.
Times.
Yeah,
that's
bringing in full stacks. Bringing in those dudes didn't play half stacks; they played full stacks.
I love that. I love that. Like when we have a band playing A7 and they're like, "No, I have to play out of my full stack." It's like, dude,
it sounded great. And,
have a day.
we started bringing them up in the golden age of the barbecues, and it was always just like, especially for bringing in out of town bands, we couldn't get people guarantees. I don't even think I played a show there with a door price until
there weren't cover charges until I started booking.
Yeah. But we would tell bands from out of town, we're gonna get you drunk, we're gonna barbecue food, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it was a party.
Yeah,
they built a party, and so people would come there not even knowing who the band was because they knew it was gonna just be that party.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to get to get a scene going.
Yeah.
Is this Luger?
Yeah, that's their first show they ever
I
did.
didn't know they played there.
I booked that. Yeah, that was the first show they ever played.
Yeah.
When I very briefly, I guess, technically managed them.
I like that. I like that combination of the Rickenbacker bass and the Gibson Flying V. Nice.
That's very that was
very
that was a
cool.
good show. It's funny you bring up with the RPG band, like the first show that we ever got a real serious noise complaint at Magnetic Field was with you guys in RPG. That the cement out front was shaking. It was
Glad
amazing.
to do my service.
RPG, an amazing band, by the way. Shout out to them.
John says, "Yeah, it was the same in London. People move into the city, then cry. It's noisier than where they came from."
Yeah,
like, duh.
It's a city.
Yeah,
because it's like the what's the pretend it's a city.
Yeah,
exactly. Hold on, I pulled my power cable out. Let me see what else we got. Oh, you know who I saw turn up? Where's this guy here? He turns up in the film, and this is a guy I've worked with, and I really liked his perspective in the film. This gentleman, yeah. Here we go.
Mr. Kip.
Yeah.
I love his take on it. I mean, this guy had to roll up his sleeves and really do some work in there. And he's any Kip perspective on or what it was like to just have to deal try to wrestle. An interesting concept is what we deal with a lot is playing in a venue that was not built to be a music venue. Right, Ben? It's like, and a lot of times it's like, oh, nah, man.
Well, I remember the first time we played there was with again another one of our Middle family is Dean Rispler, who was in original Brawlow bassist and Murphy's Law, Mighty High, a million bands, but the PA blew twice during our set. Like in the early days, the PA at Hank's
only twice.
Yeah, it was like right. It was like it was basically like singing through a tape recorder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, Kip worked at CB's before, so it was like just like Kip came from the CBC. I loved working with Kip. It was we were a great team. Hold it down after the shows. Also had to bounce people after shows with Kip.
I could say from the director perspective, first of all, Kip was like the perfect guy because there's a lot of people in a lot of bands, and I think Lee makes this point in the movie that it was kind of a testing ground. And I'm not going to name any names, but there were definitely bands who I saw show up who couldn't really handle with, let's say, the lo-fi quality of the venue and kind of screwed the pooch, and I lost a little bit of respect for them. But Kip was great at just coming in and being like, what do we have? How do we make it work? And I'll also say from the movie perspective, he was kind of a later interview where when I came back to it and was kind of figuring out what I needed some kind of bigger picture perspective and God bless Kip. He's doing great. I don't think I'm like telling any tales when I say that he had a really bad battle with cancer, which he did his interview after that. And I think a lot of like, let's just say his openness and the kind of no bullshit quality of how he spoke to me, I think was maybe affected by that. And I love the perspective that he gave me on the sound system, on the neighborhood, like the big picture about, we talked so much about the larger nature of like how these music scenes happen. Again, you could do a whole other movie just about that guy, but like, I can't say enough good things about what it's like to deal with that man.
Yeah. And Dean says he's still doing it at the Parkside Lounge.
Mm-hmm. He is. Still doing it, man.
Here's one that I did not know about. I was a little surprised. Did John Spencer Blues Explosion play at Hanks?
They did. Yeah, I booked that one.
Wow, that must have been a friggin' circus.
It was. They did a 5-borough tour, and they played in each borough. I think it might have been one day after another. I had worked with John at Magnetic Field because he was on a record that I worked on, the Lost Crusaders, and then Jody, who was briefly bartending, John got in touch with her, blah blah blah. So we did the show, and it was kind of crazy. He did it for free, and at this point we were doing cover charges. And then when he rolled up, it was hysterical because there was a line around the block up 3rd Avenue, and he said, "Oh, I guess I should have charged." Like, you know. But the best at that show, it was so packed out. I actually had somebody, while I was at the door with the bouncer I hired someone special for that show. Shout out Greg Cook. And this guy came to the door and he said, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh no, we're sold out. You can wait. We're doing 1 in, 1 out." And he said, "Oh no, but I know Lee." He says, and I said, "Oh yeah, you know Lee." And we held the door and we kicked him in the ass. And
I love that guy.
Yeah, he dropped my name to me. But no, John killed it. That show was phenomenal. And that's a good example of if someone knows what they're doing, they really know how to dial themselves in. It doesn't matter the room. And that show was great. It was packed, and John just sounded great. He was climbing on the bar, amazing front man, and he crushed it. We had a couple of big shows like that. We had them. We had Detroit Cobras. I did. We had Roddy from the Specials. If you
I have a couple of those shots. Yeah.
I was at that John Spencer show, and I just hung out at the door with Greg. And I don't. It was so packed. I don't think I heard a single song, even though I was in the room.
I was going to say that also, if Mr. Spencer would have got back to me about permissions, he would have been in the movie.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Ben,
John, what's up?
Ben, when Philip and I went out to see that last Broadlow show, it was the same thing. It was packed.
Yeah,
that place was jammed. For that. I think that was the last time I saw the Broadlow. So
we didn't play too many more shows before that. Before COVID hit, we played
the New Hanks
show at we played like 2 other shows, and then we played the New Hanks, and then we played Gutter, and then COVID hit, and now it's 2026.
Oh, that was a favorite show, Dean. Pork Dukes. That was one of my favorites I did.
What's going on here?
Oh, that's this band, The Get It. That
oh yes.
How does something like this happen on a stage the size of Hanks?
They're in the movie.
And that was at the Atlantic Annex, so we would do the shows outside for the Atlantic Annex. But yeah, those guys squeezed onto the stage. It was great band, great soul band, really fun. Very red.
They're on the soundtrack. They very generously donated some music to the soundtrack as well.
And one more kind of show and tell before you move. What's happening here?
Oh, that's Anti-Scene. That's Anti-Scene, and actually someone just wrote that. Yeah, that was the Murder Junkies and Anti-Scene. I didn't book that one, but I was already booking there. So I was involved in that one, but I didn't personally book it. But they were sweetest guys, really nice guys. I think Anti-Scene played once when I was booking there, one time before that. That's Jeff Clayton from Anti-Scene.
And they played with the Murder Junkies?
I think that one was with the Murder Junkies, yeah. So it was a really lovely crowd at that show.
Yeah.
So the only time I saw Anti-Scene was with Laughing Hyenas at Maxwell's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
You know, if you
Actually-
look closely, that flag back there, by the way, which was there
Okay.
forever, there's blood splattered on that from Jeff Clayton's head, and that was on that flag till the bar closed. That flag had,
Wow.
he decorated it. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to the film, back to the sort of the task at hand. Starting with you, Leon, like, why did things turn, and why did Hanks have to close? What was sort of that?
I mean, you know, Julie would be the one to truly speak on that. But essentially, when I was booking there, I booked there from, I wrote it down, 2013 to the closing. There was at least 2 times we were going to close before we actually closed. At one point, we got out and the building got sold, and they were going to close it. And actually, the ironworkers that Leon ended up talking to, I got an email from a woman who they wanted to do like a ceremony, to like a rain dance kind of ceremony, something really cool to kind of keep the place open. I got to find that email. And then, you know, just the usual landlord gentrification bullshit. And it was ridiculous because, as you could see, you know, the place is still empty. It's still vacant. So, you know, and then finally when it just came down, you know, I think that Julie could have probably pushed it a couple more months, but, you know, it's like when things are falling apart and the owner, there's no support, and the city, you know, and plus, you know, the building did look like it could fall down at any minute. It's shocking it's still standing. But that was really it. You know, it was really just usual landlord greed. And I think they thought that they could, you know, be zoned to build a, you know, a high rise or whatever. And it didn't work out for them, thankfully.
I want to make the point that it never failed because the business was failing. The business
never.
was always doing great. And a lot of people have asked me, oh, is it Barclays Center, which is the massive arena that got built there quite a few years ago? And no, Barclays actually, for better or for worse, helped them in terms of getting them.
Yeah, when there was a hockey game, we'd be packed.
Yeah,
and I did a party for the Iron Maiden show there, and I think it was one of the best days the bar ever did. Yeah, the business was always doing great. It was literally landlord greed and gentrifying bullshit.
Yeah, it was explained to me that the original project, which was Julie's friend, who she talks about in the movie, he got kind of destroyed by whatever happened in 2008 financially, and it went into receivership. And I'm not a real estate lawyer, but basically, it just kept getting sold, and the debt kept changing hands, and it was all just like Lee said. It was a combination of greed and speculation, and this idea that that corner must be worth so much as soon as we build something on it, which no one has done to this day. As of last week, I was there earlier this week, and I took a picture.
I didn't even know it had a second floor until
that was pretty funky in the film. That was like, holy shit.
Speaking of it being on the verge of falling apart.
I very carefully went to the second floor with a mask on, you know, and that was wild. I feel I'm incredibly lucky. And again, this gets back to our earlier conversation about the goodwill of people like Jeannie, and in this case, Lauren, who just gave me full access to the place. And it's wild, man. It's like, what you see in the movie is what was up there. Like, people have been up there to update the HVAC or whatever, but there's still like shit from the 40s just sitting on the floor up there.
Yeah,
the basement was just as scary.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, that's, you know, what I told Leon this at the premiere, like, I thought the whole history was, and you know, there was a long period where I was reviewing music documentaries like once a week, and you know, they can get a little samey, but the whole angle of the Brooklyn history, the New York history, the history of the bar was really great. You know, I think it's one of the you know, as important certainly as the musical stuff.
100%, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it is being a bit of of course, a native New Yorker and a bit of a New York City historian. I loved the tie-in with the neighborhood and the iron workers, and that was great. And you know, I have in my notes just you know, last days. Why did it close in 2018? I always thought it was a victim of the Barclays Center. That's what I had in my notes. I didn't know.
Yeah.
No, that benefited. Like, you'd get whenever there was a hockey game, place would
Yeah.
get packed before, packed afterwards. It didn't hurt the business at all. It helped a lot. You know, not the best people, but
Yeah. It's so bizarre. It's like when I pull up to that corner constantly on the way to the bridge or whatever. I look over and say to my wife, Hanks is still just sitting there. And it's like the Grand Victory. It's still just sitting there. And it's been closed over, the trash bar, right?
Yeah. Another great one.
Why do these places close only to remain empty? I guess that's a loophole in the landlord stuff here in New York City that they could just write it off the same amount of the rent on taxes or whatever.
I mean, Atlantic's interesting because there is one developer that owns a huge amount of Atlantic Avenue. They don't own that building, but they have so much warehouse property that's just all sitting there vacant because they're big enough they could write it off. Hanks is kind of, I think, a little more unique. It's just like Leon said, it's just a lot of misfortune and bad investment, and then coupled with greed, coupled with the usual greed. And also, probably listen, whoever's going to take over that building, it has to be torn down. You can't rehabilitate that building. You have to tear it down and start from scratch. So you're talking about a massive investment. So,
Yeah,
they should
100%. And in the film, you go down into the basement, and it's just like it's like the seventh level of Hades down there.
Oh yeah,
it's like holy shit.
The best is when bands would roll in and ask where the green room was when we did do some of the bigger bands, and I'd be like, but I remember I'm not going to mention the band, but there was a band that they were great. They were really cool, but they asked for a green room. I was like, well, you could go in the basement if they had to do yoga or something before their set. It's like, you can go downstairs, and they came up like shook. They definitely did not get zen from being down there.
Right.
Obviously talking about the Murder Junkies, well known for their love of yoga.
Yes.
I mean,
Susan asks, like the CB's bathroom?
Well, the Hanks bathrooms are pretty legendary too. I would say they're not as bad as CB's, but they're close.
I have to confess, I will say there is an entire segment about the bathroom that, unfortunately, when you look at your movie and you realize it's 4 hours long and you have to cut things, the bathroom segment had to go. That will be an extra, probably on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's just people talking about the rite of passage that was going into that place, especially when Mike Higgins was alive, because the chances of that old man being on the toilet, who we also talk about in the movie,
you talk about that,
pretty good. That was a whole rite of passage. You just walk on him, just 100% doing his bathroom things.
Yeah,
Unless we romanticize the place.
What's that, Ben?
It did rival the CB's bathroom in terms of being absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
which is a feat.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just a smaller version.
Right.
I don't want to mention names, but there were some people that just they had the ability to sort of go into the CB's bathroom and drop their drawers and take a crap, and people would be walking in and out, and they'd be like, "Yo, what's up?" And it'd be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like I'd hold my crap in for a month before I sat down on that bowl.
The trick,
it's like being in central booking or something. Just hold it in. Not that I know.
There was also there was a period when the women's room still had a lock, but for whatever reason the men's room didn't. So if you could get a buddy to guard the door, if you really had to do a number 2, you could make it happen in there. But I don't recommend that ever.
Nah, you could just go to a nicer place up the block and use their bathroom.
Right, that's what
you could go on the
to
street,
Hollow
it might
Nickel.
be better. Yeah.
Go for the most right up 3rd Avenue and blow up that thing.
For the most part, Ben, I'm sure you can relate. As a musician who's traveling toward, I sort of have the Vulcan mind trick, whereas when to excrete solid waste particles, and it's never at the club.
Right, or you got to do it way before doors open.
Oh yeah.
Then it's that was the CB's trick. You could go into the ladies' room when they had the record canteen.
Oh yeah,
nice toilets, man. Let me tell you,
that was nicer over there.
This is fascinating, Lori Dawn.
Talking about poop.
A last word on that, Lori Dawn, because I know you're enjoying this. Whenever I used to hear the air brakes of the tour bus kind of let loose, it would just set something off, and I would have to get off. That was it. Make a run for it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to take this moment to segue a little and reveal something, which is we can
Please.
get into this more, but I consider the music portion of this movie to secretly be an instruction manual for young people who need to learn how to go out and do this now. So like what we're talking about, this lore of like we came up in this, and I've talked to much younger people where I describe the basics of like, you know, being on a like total bare bones punk tour where you're like, oh, I guess we're peeing in the bucket next to the merch table or whatever, and they're just like horrified, like why would you ever intentionally do that with your life? So, you know, anyone who wants to go out there and live the dream again, this movie's actually a secret blueprint for
Well,
how
I
to
think
go out
it's
and make this stuff happen.
I think one thing, and I like that you guys were talking about this like earlier, is like the DIY aspect of Hanks and
Yes.
of your documentary and Drew, all the things that you're involved with the shows and the stuff. And Hanks was for, you know, Broadlow wasn't a punk band, but we came from the punk scene and we were like punk rock guys, and we came from that, booking our own tours, making our own shirts. And Hanks was the place where I could always get an out-of-town band to show, which is the most important commodity you have as a DIY band, whether you're playing country or hard rock or hardcore. So, and again, my buddy John Parton, who messaged him before, they had a place down in Richmond, Virginia, the Hole in the Wall. In Boston, it was O'Brien's. And again, like we would bring, you know, you'd go play O'Brien's with Lamont from Boston or the Humanoids, and then they'd come play Hanks with us. And then we'd go down to Richmond and play the Hole in the Wall. So it's an important tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to pile on that conversation and say that, Ben, actually, I think the first time I met you is my band had the privilege of opening for you and a bunch of other bands at CBGB's back in the day. And I think about it because I think Lamont was on that bill. Maybe RPG was on that bill. And I look back and I had a band that, like, to certain people, they would be like, oh, you're country. We can't possibly put you on this lineup. But like my nightmare was playing a country show, like a quote unquote show out of town.
Sure.
We're showing up with this other whatever Hanks vibe we were bringing, and like we actually did way better on like hard rock and punk shows. But like again, the point I'm making is that much like CB's, there was this kind of democracy of like, oh, we think this will work, and the crowd will be like amenable to it enough. You know, you didn't have a lot of people with their arms crossed going, this isn't punk rock or whatever, and walking out.
Well, if the people are the same, it doesn't matter if the music isn't the same, you know? And I think that a show like that really points to like other people to give props to. And the people that booked my first 5-6 years of shows at Hanks were Jamie and Ellen.
Yes.
Jamie Gorman from bands and worked at CB's, and Ellen, his wife. They were always about those mixed bills of country bands, rock bands, and then that band Morning 40 Federation from New Orleans.
Yes.
Like notorious drunks, and would just come up to New York. And so, yeah, that was all part of that. To me, it's like the Hanks thing is like the beginning and then the later half.
Yeah. I want to just
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I want to just second what he said about Ellen and Jamie, because for whatever reason, they didn't want to actually participate in the movie, but they gave me a lot of photos, and they are another missing piece in that puzzle of, even as Sean Kershaw was coming up, they were the ones who were booking a lot of the original shows. And like Ben just said, they booked a pretty eclectic mix that really set the tone in that place, especially in those kind of wild early years.
Right on.
Yes.
Lee, this is one of yours, the Plimsolls. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I booked Plimsolls, the original lineup at Magnetic Field, which was probably my favorite show I ever booked the whole time I did Magnetic Field. So it was literally the whole original lineup with Peter Case. But because one of our regulars is Eddie, the guitar player, was a regular customer. And then Eddie lives in New York, so he kind of kept the band going. Like he was probably the main songwriter, him and Peter. So this wasn't with Peter singing, but this was for my holiday party. And Swilson, that's Dean. Dean was on that bill.
Yeah, I played that Plimsolls show.
But yeah, that was a really fun show. Great show. Eddie's a great guy. Love working with them. That was a great one.
Have Leon, have you seen your Hardcore Legend trading card?
I did not know that was a thing.
Listen, there's a lot of things here.
How's that?
Oh my God, I finally have cred.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, you got to see the back is cool. The back. Wait, let me find the back. The back is very cool. Good.
Did it have my stats?
Yeah, man, and
How's your batting average?
Your stats are.
My batting average is not good.
You're on base.
Look at this guy's stats.
Wow, look at that.
Man.
Okay,
Wow.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Josh, who creates this, says, "I hope you like it, Leon."
I love it. If my mom's watching, I just want to say, you see,
Yep.
Mom, I'm somebody.
Yeah.
I got a trading card.
I didn't know all this.
Neither did I, really.
Yeah. Wow. Look at all this great stuff you did.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah. Don't. Hold on. Don't laugh. Here you go. Don't laugh too hard, Lee, because you're up next.
Oh no!
There you go. All right.
Check me out.
Yeah.
Why are you looking so mean, bro?
Yeah.
Because I'm waiting for the subway.
Are you mad? Are you?
That's a very.
I got my Subway face on.
That's it.
I was gonna say that's a very 70s baseball trading card. Like maybe he's drunk.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just angry. You
know?
My when I ride the Subway with my wife, she yells, "Don't look anyone in the eye." That's what she tells me. Don't look anyone in the eye. I'm like, okay, I
It's
won't.
me staring at you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll just stare at the ground like.
Yeah.
Hey, there's your mom. Yeah, see? Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I see. Good.
Oh, I can die happy now.
Yeah, and let me find here's Lee's the back of Lee's card.
Uh-oh.
Damn, Josh. You know,
I got to get one of those cards now.
Yeah, Josh, reach out to these guys. Let me see what's going on with Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, you got me on here.
In addition to his work with different venues, Lee runs the Achilles in the Alleyway blog and Substack dedicated to protesting the rising tide of conformity.
Yeah.
Lee worked as the manager for the Black Hollies and the drivers on Sweet Diesel. Damn, bro.
No, I didn't manage Sweet D's. I managed Black Hollies.
No.
and Jets.
Yeah. He did graphic design, layout, and photography for releases by bands like Sweet Diesel, Black Army Jacket, The Templars, 45 Adapters, and others.
Well, that's true. And he put out a Sweet Diesel record.
I did.
Yeah.
I did indeed. Wow, look at this. That's super cool.
Super cool.
Joshy, reach out, and then
I love it. I love it.
What'd you send me,
It's
Josh?
awesome.
Oh, you sent me Ben's rookie card. Oh yeah. Here we go. Bingo.
Oh, and I still look the same.
Ben's rookie card winning.
Oh, right.
I love it.
Still wearing band shirts and flannels.
Yeah,
It's true, Ben. You haven't changed much in the time I've known you.
You know,
Yeah, we should point out me and Ben go back a long time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
High school, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys in the same class in high school?
No.
Figuratively, not literally.
Right.
We know each other through graffiti and the Brooklyn Queens Alliance.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Same class criminal.
I love it, man.
Oh wait, listen. I know would say, but I think this one's worth posting. Apparently, there is a rookie card for Lee as well.
Oh wow.
Oh my God. That's in See Here. That's in See Here Books.
Oh wow.
The zine store.
Yeah.
And I think I was probably with Ben that day.
Probably.
Yeah.
Drinking beers on the street, getting tickets.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, that's See Here. That's great.
Don't you have a bat in that photo?
Have a what? A bat?
No,
I have a toothpick in my
that
mouth.
photo. Aren't you like
Some days
holding,
don't
like, a
change.
bat in the original?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let me see as we poke around. I'll take a quick break in a second, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. But this is Lee.
Yes, that's with Roddy Radiation from the
Yes.
Specials.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of my that probably. I mean, it's hard to give a favorite because I love working with everyone. You know, I did so many great shows, but that working with Roddy was like such an honor. Like, because the Specials are one of my all-time favorite bands, and
That's
it
awesome.
kind of fell into my lap. Shout out to the Dave from the Slackers and Rocksteady 7 who hooked me up with them, and it was a brilliant show. And I got to DJ the show too, so I got to open for Roddy and book him. So it was great. And the nicest guy, what a sweetheart, brilliant guy.
What was his set? What was he playing?
He was backed by a band called the Scotch Bonnets, and he had a band after the Specials, so he was doing his rockabilly stuff. And then, I mean, he wrote Ghost Town, he wrote Rat Race.
Oh, wow.
So he did a lot of great special stuff, and then his rockabilly stuff, and he was great. Hung out, did shots with everyone, came back, took photos during the day of the front. Brilliant guy, like just total sweetheart.
Yeah. Let me see. I think there's another shot of that.
Also, Lee, I will take a moment to apologize that, like a lot of things in the music section, that got cut for time. So nothing personal. Like it's really
I'm honored to be in it. That's it. I'm honored to be in it.
You start out writing a term paper, and then you realize it's got to be a story, and you know a lot. Like again, somebody could do a 3-hour movie just about that music scene. You know what I mean?
I think you could have done a documentary just about the history of New York, and then it could be two separate documentaries. It's very different stories. The fact that you were able to get them both within a reasonable amount of time is pretty miraculous. I got to give you hats off.
It was a lot of painful moments of being like, oh man, I love this band. I don't want to cut them. It very quickly becomes like, okay, we need people indicative of different genres. You want to include everybody. You want to show people everything. You want to explain how every night was, and the reality of editing doesn't always reward that. But
was it traumatic, Leon? Was it traumatic when you had to sort of take a sharp knife to it?
I mean, on the larger scale of real world problems, I survived it, but creatively it sucks. And I think, honestly, between conversations like this and people I knew and the goodwill that I got from the crowdfund, I probably felt an incredible pressure to make sure that I got it right, especially with the history stuff and especially among the musicians. And so I'm sure somebody's mad that they're not included. It's also like the thing I learned is it's like that story about the elephant where like everybody has this connection to Hanks, and everybody will tell you about this one night that they had there. And when you make a movie about a bar, that's a really hard thing to kind of capture. And so everybody's always like, oh my God, I had the greatest time there. This one time you should have been there. It's like, well, I wasn't there. You're playing with people's nostalgia. You're playing with people's like personal feelings. And so it's a lot of like trying to manage and trying to tell the story without hurting any feelings.
100%, man.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody, but you really got everything in there. I mean, like I said,
especially in the music world,
to my boy Alec, who's in there. And you even got like the late night regular, who's turns out he's my childhood friend, and he's a highlight.
I love Alex.
Is that the guy that was sitting at the bar like they can suck my?
Yes, that's my boy.
That was pretty rough, man. That was pretty raw.
You're right, and I will tell you that a couple people who saw it were like, "Hey, man, I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of took me out of it. It feels like a bit much." But
that's bar life. I mean,
and I think
go.
I was going to say, as I think I told you guys in person, my final decision on that was I have a lot of people speaking in very rational, cool tones about the nature of change and things in the neighborhood changing. And I wanted one person that was like, no, this guy's fucking angry. If you meet him, you should be terrified. If you live in one of those buildings, you don't ever want to run it. Like I wanted like 2% of just absolute like mortal fear.
Sure.
Well, that's reality.
That's also a part of Hanks.
Hanks was a dive bar, right?
Yeah,
and during the day, it was open. When I first started booking, they were still open in the morning. Then I think it started opening at noon. But you went from people drinking all day long, and then you had the shows at night. Okay. Sometimes people that were there during the day drinking stayed all the way till close. And that's the
Yeah.
reality. It was a bar. It wasn't just a music venue. So you have to capture that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I bartended for years. I mean, Alec, he's my boy, but that's reality. That's someone who's been drinking in a bar all day and is pissed at the changing
Exactly.
face of the neighborhood. He's a Brooklynite. We grew up together, and you know, it's reality. So you can't,
also-
warts and all.
Yeah, I do like how the film, you could see that it has sort of the regulars, and some of the regulars carried over into the music part of it, and sort of blended together, and it made a very special, unique mix.
Yeah. And I also love that we do touch quite a bit on what it is actually like to work in the place. Again, warts and all. And I wanted it to be like, yeah, it's not all rosy. Like if you're bartending at 3:55 a.m., this is the fucking guy you're going to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, for better or for worse.
Let me ask you, Leon, a lot of the stuff that was in Hanks, the bar, the this, the that.
Yeah.
I know when CB's closed, the stuff was sort of put into storage, thinking, you know, was any look at the stools, was that the case here, or was the stuff just
my understanding? Well, first of all, there is this epilogue where they tried to start a new Hanks somewhere else.
Right, Hanks too. Yeah,
and the owner Julie did take some of the memorabilia and put it into that place. But
There was a good amount in the next place because I booked there also. There was
Yeah.
a good amount of stuff. I mean, the stuff that was, you know, not toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell you. Yeah, there's Julie. I could tell you that at the time of the filming, I think Julie was a little overwhelmed in general, and a lot of stuff was sitting in storage. But she's told me more recently that she still has it all. And so I don't know how much she's gone through at this point. Like, obviously, I would have loved to have been there with a camera and gone through every inch of it, but that didn't happen at the time. But as I understand it, Julie still has quite a bit. So for what that's worth,
she's a really a nice, vibrant, smiling face in the film. It's really she really brightens up the screen. It's very nice when she's on.
And that's her in person too. It really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's another shot of the door. I think this is great. I just don't. I mean, I don't know of many places like this that, you know. Mars
I'll
bars,
tell you that door
Mars
too
bars
has been ripped
gone.
off the hinges more than once.
Oh yeah,
and I won't tell the story because I don't think it's mine to tell. But there was a very serious bar fight there one night where someone took that door off with their head.
Sheesh. Yeah, Ralph's in Worcester, 100%. 100%. We played there a couple months ago. 100%. Ralph's in Worcester. Same.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask how many times that door's glass was broken, because
I don't remember it ever breaking, but the door was ripped off because I came at the night after, and like I said, it's not my story to tell, and statute of limitations and all, but someone got handled really well through that door and took the door off the hinges.
I can also, I'm not going to name any names either, but I know that in the early days when Dave first took it over in the 2000s, and it was Hanks pre-Julie, a couple bartenders' signature move was to kind of accidentally on purpose miss the door. If they were dragging somebody out of there, they would, you know, kind of accidentally on purpose crash them into the door frame a few times on the way out. And,
right.
I know someone who did that we know. Yeah.
I've heard, you know.
Yeah.
No.
You know, again, it's like there are those clubs that are, it's, you know, I worked at Brownies. Brownies was mostly closed until showtime. CB's even. It's like Hanks was a bar that had shows, and those places that have a different vibe. And I would tell bands that were coming, I was like, you know, like, watch your stuff when you get there. Like, don't, you know, like, don't just leave your stuff at the club unattended.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was real, man. I could tell you, like, there was this one epic bar fight that I won't get into, but like one of the details I remember is that more than one person who was probably also in there underage pulled out his full like heroin works and like threw it in the garbage because they thought the cops were coming. Like, it was that kind of spot. You know what I mean? Like, lest we romanticize things too much. Like, that was
right
on the fringes, you know?
Yeah. Hey, let me take a quick sponsor break, and we'll come back. We'll take some questions from around the world, okay?
Cool. Awesome.
I'll see you in a minute. That's what's up. Episode 418, Hank's documentary. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes rock and roll Hall of Famers Greg Rowley, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Come on now, George. 126 Hardcore Clothing is a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your weak-ass clothing game. www.126clothing.com. That said, She-Devil's Coven. Oh, I have new text, and I'm not. You know what? I got to do this right. Give me a second. I must do this right. Let's see. She-Devil's Coven. Here we go. She-Devil's Coven is a prominent female-owned business based out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Owner Rachel King Keys comes in full force, being extremely versatile and multi-talented as a candle maker, traveling makeup artist, and event planner. She's established her identity as unique across the map since 2020. Be sure to catch her May 3rd and 4th, debuting at her biggest show yet, selling her goods at the world's famous makeup show located at the Metropolitan Pavilion on 115 West 18th Street, 3rd floor, New York City, New York. Be sure to give her a follow on Instagram and Facebook at She-Devil's Coven. There you go. That should be everybody. Hey, just want to mention real quick a couple of events that are coming up. First and foremost, Friday the 13th, a week from this Friday, at Powerhouse Arena in Brooklyn, I am moderating the Chris Wren Fenway Punk Book Event. Come through, great book. He was just on the show last week, how Bridge 9 Records was funded by the greatest rivalry in sports between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Minty Fresh, our people at Minty Fresh present Shutdown, Silence Equals Death, record release party, Overthrow, Deadshot, Surrender the Weapon, and Bore Tired at Locals in Manalapan, New Jersey on March 14th. And then, of course, we are back at A7, the home, the birthplace of New York hardcore, Sunday, March 15th. Non-residents, Why Die from Philly, The Long Wait featuring Jamie from SSD Control, and members of Slapshot, Direct Order 82, RBNX, Syndicate Sound System. Let me see anything else that I need to shout out. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we'll get to all this stuff eventually. Yeah. How about this one? Sunday, August 23rd, in our beloved Tompkins Square Park. It is the Women of the Pit School Supply Drive with My War, Butterbrain, World of Chaos, and Sonic Bomb. Great event in our beloved Tompkins Square Park. That said, any questions for our guests, please post them now. Go deep, get weird. Let's go. Post them up. Let's bring them back on. See what we got. Let me put you guys in the right spots. And let's see. Look forward, John Parton. Look forward to seeing the doc and enjoy the afternoon chat. I appreciate all of y'all. Love from RPG. Peace.
Awesome.
Cool.
Everyone should check out RPG. Great band.
Yeah, they put out 3 great records.
So fun.
Yep.
So fun.
Cool. Listen, he's got to ask it. RS70, our graffiti historian. Can Lee speak on what he writes or wrote in graffiti?
Wrote. I'm an old man, so I don't write graffiti anymore. I quit a long time ago. I wrote Scar in the 80s.
Right.
Scar GIS. And a lot of other crews. X-Men, MDC, BFB, and on and on and on. TMR, whatever. But yeah. That's another lifetime.
Has it been interesting to see sort of the ebb and flow of the graffiti community through the years and how it's come, how it's kind of it's in, it's out, it's in, it's bigger in. It must have been.
It's
pretty
weird. I
interesting.
mean, you know, when I quit, when I retired, which would have been, I don't know, 89, 90, something like that. I kind of just put it all behind me because the scene got real ugly at that point in history. And and then when I jumped back into seeing things, I mean, social media changes, and Ben can speak on this too. Social media changed everything. You know, graffiti was very much for other graffiti writers back in the day. Then it became, you know, the whole social media aspect. But it's cool. I mean, I love keeping up on it. You know, I still have friends who are active. So I'm just long retired. But I put on a graffiti show about, how long ago has that been? I don't know, 15 years ago. My boy Chino did a show.
Everything is like pre or post COVID, and it was pre COVID. So yeah.
I did subways. I used to hit the subways. Yeah. I think the first time I went to the trains, I don't know what year it would be, but I did the subways.
What's this? Just kind of in between. I'm just sprinkling in some of the stuff I pulled aside. This looks. What is this one? Is this one of yours, Lee?
Yeah, that's an old 70s original, as you could see, 76, really filthy punk band. Like you couldn't play any of their songs on the radio ever. They were all, if I remember correctly, they were all like pretty accomplished musicians, and it wasn't exploitation, but it's really filthy. They were phenomenal, great guys. Unfortunately, the other person who I worked with who got me the show was a piece of shit. And I'll just put it out there, and I got no love for him. And if he's watching, you know, can you see my finger? But they were amazing, nice guys. It was really cool to book like an original UK punk band who was playing like the Vortex and the 100 Club, and have them at Hanks, and they were awesome, great guys.
Sure. Hey, Leon, any idea if the doc will be streaming? Maybe, because I know we asked early on, what does the future hold for the Hanks doc?
I hope that the future holds streaming. I don't have any definite deals for that yet. It may be as simple as me going on Amazon and doing their video on demand or whatever. So, I'm not being shady when I say that, like, the best thing you can do is go to the website and sign up for the mailing list. And the reason I say that is not because I'm running a Ponzi scheme, but because social media has gotten a little weird, where it's kind of attracted some bottom feeders and some bots and whatever. So we're trying to keep it like people who are really interested enough. So I don't have a great answer yet. The hope is that in the next couple months, we're going to nail down some kind of streaming. So the best thing you could do is sign up. I don't abuse that. I don't sell people's info. There's not some secret like other thing going on with AI or anything. Like, if you sign up, you will eventually get an email from me that just says when and where it will be streaming. And I'm sorry I don't have a cooler answer, but that's the best thing you can do right now.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
It would be sick though if you were running a pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
I'm all that sweet documentary money.
Thinly veiled as a Hanks.
I'm just here to cash in, guys.
That would be a sick flex.
Or if it was a cult, it would be cool.
It's a very long game.
Well, this is kind of a cult.
Good question, Joshy. Does Leon's band still play?
We've had a couple kind of reunion shows. We were supposed to have one back in January and with our OG drummer, and she had a bunch of problems, and back in October, and that didn't happen. I will say that anything's possible. Like, once the smoke clears from this, we might put some new form of the band back together just to do the occasional show, especially because just to tie Kip back in, Kip gave us a really great show at Parkside about a year ago that was incredible. So I'd love to replicate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a cool shot. I guess this is kind of as things were winding down, right?
Yeah, that's a holiday party.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Debauchery.
I know I asked this, but there's so much like great stuff on the walls. I got to figure. Did it move over to the second place?
Julie moved over some of those things, like the scratch your balls shirt, and some of the old ironworker stuff and labor stuff. But not. I don't know. I mean, I assume, like Leon said, she's got a bunch of that in storage.
Yeah, I was gonna say we talked a little bit about the subject came up about, well, can you create a dive bar? Can you manufacture a dive bar? And one of the things that Julie and other people brought up is like, you don't want it to be this kind of TGI Fridays version.
Yeah, right.
Where you're trying too hard. So I think that she was very careful to kind of curate. But I mean, the beauty of the place is when it happens naturally, there is just wild shit on the walls. And I know that some of that certainly goes back to at least when Dave owned the place and probably the Do-Re before that. But yeah, I hope she kept a lot of it. But yeah, I think it is like, it was a weird thing for her to kind of curate that going into the new place. And, and I think she did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah. That makes sense. And here's our good friend Cindy, formerly of the Lunatics, who is a big part of what we do now. Down with our thing, and we love Cindy. She's awesome.
Oh,
I think also it needs to be said, like the second Hanks that Lee and Joe put together.
Yeah,
it was a great. I mean, it's a real shame what happened there because
it really
is a great venue, great sound. Great bar, great location, and again, it was just like greedy real estate shit.
I didn't understand that. It really wasn't there very long. It was like on top of the food court, right?
6 months.
And I can allow. I mean, I don't have the lawyers to get too into the names of the companies involved, but I will say that Julie was very strongly encouraged to go to a new place and use the name Hanks, and there was hope. I think that, like Ben said, she did a very good job of saying, fine, let's build out a next level music venue that will really lure like a certain level of touring band into the place. And my understanding is that the people who brought them in were not completely honest about the fact that they maybe weren't paying the rent. And
that was part of it.
Once again, Lee can maybe say more to this, but as I understand it, like once again, it wasn't the business failing; it was whoever was higher.
No,
up.
we were crushing it. It was over a food court, and I'll leave the name out because they already hated me last time I spoke about them when we closed. And I spoke about them in an interview.
You can look it up.
But Hill Country, I mean, they owned the downstairs and they had a food court and they did graciously give Julie the space upstairs, and it didn't work out. And it really was unfortunate because Hanks was doing well. The shows were doing great. Julie was doing great with the bar. She had a killer staff. A lot of people came over from the old Hanks. Yeah. And it was turning into something really nice, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
Yeah. Leon, documentary you want to make, but will be tough to do. Any D, all the above.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you one that maybe this crowd more than most will get is there's a movie called Another State of Mind. I don't know if you guys know it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Documentary about like social distortion and
minor. It has like some of the very rare, unique minor threat footage.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to say that was on Night Flight in like 1987 when I was maybe 14. Cause I missed like by the time I heard about hardcore, people were already telling me how it was over and, this and that and whatever. And, I would like to make a movie, hopefully involving like various celebrities and whoever around the world about everyone who saw it on Night Flight particular time. I think that would be an interesting premise.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And of course, the larger impact of what that movie was for us. Because it really, again, it was kind of an instruction manual. I don't know the last time you watched that movie, but it's got a guy just full on giving instructions on how to what we called slam dance back then.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of funny now, but when you're like 14 in the Midwest, you're like taking notes. You're like, oh yeah, cool. This is how we do it. All right. Now I know how to be in a pit. Like it was like really like that for us. So, I have a feeling that other people maybe had that experience. And if I had the money and the time, I'd love to go make that. Also, zines. I would love to do anything about what happened with zines in the 90s. I don't think that's been like cohesively covered. So those are my two biggies.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. It's sort of like in our lifetime, we went from sort of something like that to like insidious information overload where it's just like, ugh.
But I mean,
too much.
I will tell you the flip side of that. And honestly, when I was in the midst of the muck of trying to figure out what to keep and what to save with this, particularly the music section of this movie, I went to a show at Otto's Shrunken Head, and I can't tell you the name of the band. I may have been drinking. They were definitely older than me. I'm 53, and they were probably like pushing 60. And this band was just killing it in the back room of Otto's Shrunken Head. For those who don't know, is a really great little smaller live music venue in Manhattan.
Like a dive bar, really.
Yeah, with a little tiki bar in the back.
I call that place a dive bar.
Yeah. And I watched these people who must have been barely 21 come in, and I watched them, and this is like a year or two ago. I watched them in real time kind of experience the fact that, like, oh, there's a band in the room and they're right here, and actually touch the guitar player.
Yeah.
And you see the girls look around and go, oh, like these women are dancing and no one's taking movies. We can just do, and you watch them learn in real time, like, oh, we can just do this. This is a thing that we can just do and experience. And that was really inspiring to me and actually put me in the path of like, okay, this is going to be my secret blueprint for those kids. Like, hey, if you're, because I'm running into like a lot more of that much younger generation that I do feel it's swinging back. They're very fed up. They don't want every minute to be recorded. They don't want to look at a screen all day. And if I have hope right now, it's for people like that. And I hope in some small way I can like tell that, like, because I remember being that age and just needing to be told, like, no, you can just do this, man.
Yeah.
Just make the thing happen if you want to make it happen. And that was huge.
Hey, come on down. Free Sunday, 16 plus at the A7 Niagara, formerly the birthplace of New York hardcore. That's what we do, man.
Yeah.
And the amount of young people that show up and get involved and are into it is fucking is great.
Yeah.
Hey, so glad to see Ben Smith on this show. I went to college in Boston with him, and he was always a mad, awesome guitarist and cool person. Tim Cohen.
Yeah, that's my man Tim from 108.
Coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I want to tell a great Tim Cohen 108 story.
Please.
When we were in college in Boston, Tim was playing with this guy, Craig. I want to say his last name is O'Hara. He wrote a book called like The Politics of Punk that got published by like Maximum Rock and Roll. And he was from Pennsylvania. And then there was also playing with this guy, Link. And those two guys hated anything New York hardcore. And Tim and I were from New York. Tim's from Dobbs Ferry. He grew up with John from Helmet. And Tim would be like jamming with those guys. And then he'd invite me over to like his dorm room. And I'd come in. And Tim had a great guitar and is a great guitarist. And he'd be like, hey, Craig, could Ben borrow your bass for a second? And Greg would be like, yeah, okay. And he'd hand it to me, and we'd start playing like Cro-Mags and AF songs just to piss these dudes off.
Was Tim in the band 108?
Yeah. He's the bassist in 108. Yeah.
We've had Vic's been on the show and Kate 108's been on the show.
Sure.
So
good people.
I went to college with Kate 108.
Yeah, Kate 108 is good people. That said, let's. I think we kind of covered everything. If anybody wants to connect with the film, the place to do it is www.leonchase.com. Of course, he's the director of Hank's Saloon, and to find out what's going on, I know there's a big screening coming up at Prospect Park. So that's at the Nighthawk in Prospect Park. As we head out the door, Ben, what's happening? What's happening musically? Anything going on? Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to give us a heads up on?
Broadlow's going to be playing some shows next fall.
So, hell yeah!
Yes.
We finally figured it out, and we're playing the Emissions from the Monolith Festival out in Youngstown, Ohio, and with a bunch of other bands like Weed Eater and Solace, heavy bands, and then there'll definitely be a New York show in the future.
Yeah, there has to be, man.
No doubt.
There has to. I have to see the Broadlow in New York.
Yes, will happen. Don't have details yet, but
yeah. All right. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
All right. Take care. Mr. Lee, anything coming up? Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to Get out there?
I'm kind of taking a breather from doing shows. I did a show recently with Sean Kershaw. I did Johnny Cash birthday show. That was a blast. Taking a little bit of a breather from booking shows though, but yeah, just writing. I'm working on my memoir. So
there you
one
go.
day, A League Grows in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I've been working
And I'll
on it
see-
for a long time, so don't expect it anytime soon, but it's coming one day.
And I'll see you this summer out in
And we'll be chilling this summer on the island.
and
yes.
we'll go for an ice cream.
Many.
I'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Night. All right, Leon, that was awesome.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. I really enjoyed it.
Can I say one more thing, or we?
Yeah, no, what 100%, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've already made it clear we don't know exactly what the next steps are, but like, please go to the website, sign up for the mailing list, but also use the contact form. Send me a message. I want to make it really clear to everybody that like this is just me. There's no media operation in place. There's no big business behind me. Like, I'm just a guy who decided to do this thing, and it obviously got way out of hand, but we're still going with it. And like, all of this has happened because of the goodwill and the personal connections that I've made. And I don't want to sound too sappy here, but like, we're talking about DIY stuff. Like, I just want to make it clear, like, this all happened because I pushed through and did it, and a lot of people supported me and a lot of people believed in me. And if you just want to like send me a message, even if it's just one of these questions we haven't answered, like, please reach out, contact me directly. Like, whatever success I'm enjoying so far has been because of stuff like this. So please keep that going. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's the core of what made Hanks, and it's the core of what so far is making this thing get the attention it's getting. So thank you, and please reach out.
Fantastic. Great attitude. Let's keep in touch, and hopefully I'll get Josh with the card says he sent a message to your Facebook. So
yes, please
keep an eye out. Let's keep in touch, my kindred spirit,
Absolutely.
fellow filmmaker. I'll talk to you soon.
Honored to be here, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye. That's what's up. Another one in the can. Episode 418. There you go. That was great. I love home cooking shows like that. Couple New York guys, you know. I like that. Especially filmmaker shows. You know, I really enjoy those kind of shows. And thanks for watching, everybody. And thanks for everybody that the Incendiary Device. We just dropped a new single and a new video. New York City. If you haven't seen it, you know what? If you haven't seen it, we should exit. Let's exit with the new ID video. It's a quick one. Hold on. Where is it? What's up? New York City.
The next stop is 34th Street and Station.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
City we know is crumbled to dust. Who's to blame? No one to trust. Faces have changed, places we lost. Price of justice, we suffer the cost. Warning you! It's out of control! It's out of control! Warning you! It's out of control! It's out of control! Virus erupted, people have fled. Up from the sewer, it festers and spreads. New York City! We rise above, never give up on the city we love! Warning you! It's out of control! It's out of control! Warning you! It's out of control! It's out of control! Extreme violence, welcome to our city. Extreme violence, I warn you, I warn you. Out of control, 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 out of control. New York City's out of control.
Just the last few weeks have seen gruesome attacks from a sleeping rider lit on fire
to a man shoved in front of a moving train while checking his phone, to multiple stabbings New Year's Day.
That's what's up. The new incendiary device just dropped on Friday. Yeah, dropped on Friday. So go check it out. That was shot. Where was the video? That was done in Brooklyn. We were playing the Brooklyn Monarch. Who were we playing with that day? We played the Brooklyn Monarch, and we were and we went out in the street. And that subway station is the subway station right by the Brooklyn Monarch. I think we need John Lydon on the show. You know, I'll reach out. I'm actually holding off on John Lydon for maybe the 450th show. Matt Dillon, actually, I see him in my neighborhood. But yeah, I'll get John on the show. Maybe the 450th show. Drew, you should get Dave Marquet, the director of the Bill Bartell documentary. I'll have to check that out. I'm not familiar with the Bill Bartell documentary, so I will check that out. That said, hope you had a good time. I sure did. We'll see you soon. 1 week from today, Steve Lush will be on the show. You know, he also wrote the book American Hardcore and a lot of other stuff. So lots of cool stuff there. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for the support. If you get a chance, please go check out that new Incendiary Device New York City single. Check out the video. Give it a like. Listen to it on Spotify. And you guys are getting tighter. Well, thanks. I hope so. Yeah, the new record's really great. Until next time, do good things, and good things will come.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies.